Hey there guys, and welcome to STAGELIGHT. Thanks for joining us tonight. On the show we have lots of stars from the world of sports and the big screen. Coming up we'll be joined with guests such as motorbike legend William Dunlop, Northern Ireland leading lady Sarah Travers, fitness model Megan O'Neill, and later we'll have theatre producer from the Riverside Theatre in Coleraine, Mr Paul McMaster. And at the end of the show we'll be graced by one of my favourite YouTube sensations, Miss Melody May. Keep your eyes peeled and your ears open for this week's competition. Thanks for joining us on the show this week, everyone. We have some amazing guests lined up for you all. But as well as this, we also have my beautiful guest host, Caitlin O'Neill. Thanks for joining us, Caitlin.
Thanks for having me and letting me be part of your show. I'm so glad to be here.
Well, that's great because we've got an interview with motorcycling legend William Dunlop. And later on the show, we'll have YouTube sensation Melody May performing live in the studio.
That's great. I remember earlier this year seeing Melody all over Facebook. I couldn't believe how many views she was getting.
I know her Nicki Minaj cover of Anaconda got nearly 500,000 views. But before that, we're going to speak to model Megan O'Neill.
Megan O'Neill is a published glamour model who's now transitioning into the world of fitness.
Recently, Megan has been campaigning for anti-bullying and fighting to save Ballycastle Dalriada Hospital from closure.
Earlier this week, Chrissy Dang spoke to Megan, who was talking about her campaigns.
Today we are here with fitness model Megan O'Neill. Megan and a few others have recently gotten involved with Save the Dal by raising awareness to help prevent the closing of Dalriada Hospital in Ballycastle. Hello Megan, thanks for joining me today.
No problem.
On the 18th of November you went to U105 with Frank Mitchell regarding awareness for Save the Dal. How did you get involved?
Well, I got involved when there was quite a lot of talk about it, Save the Dal this, Save the Dal that, and I wondered what it was about. It was the very start. I'm friends with a lot of the politicians, and they basically asked me to get involved, asked me would I join them in the protests, the picket lines. So I then went to all the meetings and I decided, you know, I'm going to have to do something here to save this, to try and save it. So obviously I went on my One Woman campaign to save the Dal.
A lot of the work that you have done working with sports magazines, you've stated in your blog that you write poetry for depression awareness campaigns. How did that come about?
Well, I know quite a few people that obviously have been depressed. It's a massive taboo subject and I'm trying to get away from that. Obviously everybody suffers from depression, I've suffered from it as well, and whenever I got the opportunity, a guy with the website came to me and said, I know you have a lot of followers, I know people, young girls mostly, listen to me, they see you as your inspiration, will you write a poem? And I was like, yeah, of course I'll write a poem. So I wrote a poem for them, but it's something I'm passionate about.
You're looking fantastic and I'm incredibly thankful for the time you've taken out of your busy schedule to talk with me. Now back to you guys in the studio.
It's good to see all of the brilliant work you're doing, Megan, and all of us here at STAGELIGHT are supporting you all the way.
Up next we have motorcycle legend William Dunlop.
William is the son of late Robert Dunlop, brother and rival of Michael Dunlop and nephew of the legendary Joey Dunlop.
He spoke to us earlier about dealing with the death of his uncle and his father and his own crash.
Hello, this morning I am joined by one of motorcycling's best loved riders, William Dunlop. Hi William.
Yeah.
You obviously come from a great family tradition in motor racing. At what age did you first get on a bike?
I started back in year 2001. It was the year of the foot and mouth. I'd say I was about 16 at the time. Yeah, 16 I think it was.
Your own life and those of your immediate family were devastated by the loss of your uncle Joey in Estonia 2000 and your dad Robert in 2008 in the Northwest 200. How did these affect your own life and did they ever make you want to quit racing?
I think probably, with the Joey thing, it was kind of like, that's what started us racing, so it was kind of like an inspiration into it, and then, then we got sort of like caught with a bug, and then obviously what happened with my father then sort of, it didn't really sort of affect us in the way of racing. It was all we ever knew, so we sort of continued on with it through that, so.
You had the worst crash of your own career at the TT earlier this year when you broke your leg. How did you deal with this, getting on the bike for the first time afterwards?
I think with racers, it's like a competition how fast you can get back on a bike. It's something you feel as a challenge to try and get yourself fit again. So after I broke the leg, we were back on a bike really quick, and it never really affected us too much, to be honest. I think the only time it may affect us is going back to the same corner and the same track. So it's one of them things. If it affects you mentally, you're better quitting.
And were you scared again at having to race at such high speeds?
As I say, if it would ever affect you in that way, you're better not racing. But you have that mentality that it's never going to happen again.
The rivalry you have with your brother Michael has boiled over once or twice. How do you react when racing against him, and how do you react if you win or lose?
I think it's never easy racing with Michael because he's so he's passionate about winning. I think he's got a different attitude to most of us, where we all enjoy the race and Michael enjoys the winning side of things. So it's kind of hard that way. So it's been a few years where I've lived at home and it's been really hard. So I've moved out of home and I've got my own place now. So it's been a lot easier, and it's been good being away. When you're having to come home to it every day was probably the biggest problem. So now that I'm away from it all, I don't need to listen to it, I suppose.
And finally, William, what is your ultimate ambition that you'd like to achieve?
I think for road racing, the ultimate's the TT, and it's something I haven't won yet. And especially with the whole history of Joey, it'd be nice to get at least one.
Well, that's all we have time for today. Thanks for your time, William.
Thanks for giving us your time, William, and we wish you all the best for the rest of the year.
Unfortunately, that's the end of our first half. Stay tuned, because after the break we have Sarah Travers talking about her career and the Oma bombings. Theatre producer Paul McMaster will be live in the studio along with a performance from Melody May.
I'm a new soul, I came to this strange world hoping I could learn a bit about how to give and take. But since I came here, felt the joy and the fear, finding myself making every possible mistake. La 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 la.
Welcome back. Now we're very privileged to have past BBC News presenter and now UTV magazine show host Sarah Travers.
Sarah is an inspiration to us all. She started journalism working for BBC Radio Nottingham while studying at university.
And that's the best way to get into jobs, by getting experience and your foot through the door.
So let's go over to Nadia, who was earlier speaking to Sarah.
Thank you, and I'm joined with UTV magazine show presenter, previous BBC News reporter and local celebrity, Sarah Travers. Hi Sarah.
Hello Nadia.
Sarah, everyone knows you from the magazine show, but you didn't start there. Can you tell us a little about how you began your media career?
I can indeed, yes. I started my media career after wanting to study journalism, being very interested in the news, and went to the Nottingham Trent University, where I did a course for 3 years in broadcast journalism. Following that, I was lucky enough to get accepted onto the freelance register at Radio Foyle, BBC Radio Foyle in Derry, and that's how I started.
When you were reporting news within Northern Ireland on BBC Newsline, I'm sure you covered lots of unique stories. Is there one that stands out for you?
There were so many stories. Obviously, when I first started in BBC Radio Ulster, it was 1998. So it was sort of just at the cusp of the peace process and the Good Friday Agreement. But there were so many atrocities also going on at the time. So as a sort of rookie reporter, I was also a young mum. I just had a baby at that stage. So I found it very emotional, especially covering the Oma bombing. It was a very difficult, emotional night. That stands out, definitely.
Working in the media can often tempt people to take jobs in London, but what made you stay in Northern Ireland?
When you're a woman working in the media, especially within news, you mightn't realise this yet, but you know, the news is 24/7. It's not very family friendly. You either have to live in Belfast or perhaps Derry. They're the two sort of media centres and hubs. And when you have children, it's very difficult to juggle your work life and your childcare. So I relied heavily on my parents to help me with childcare.
Finally, Sarah, is there any advice you give anyone hoping to break into the media industry?
The technologies are advancing so fast, and there are other opportunities that we don't yet know about in the digital world, and so media encompasses a whole lot more than when I was coming out of university, which was just newspapers, telly and radio. Now you've just got this whole online sector, you've got digital creative industries out there, marketing skills, digital marketing, social media. It's all changed, so perhaps there are different avenues that you can go down. So perhaps just thinking out of the box and just being young and knowing these things and not old like me is actually an advantage.
Well, it's been a pleasure, and I thank you for joining us, Sarah. That's all from us. Back to Emily in the studio.
I never knew how hard it would be to be a reporter.
I know, I don't know how I could ever cope with working as a presenter and juggling family life as well. I would need a holiday.
That reminds me about this week's competition. Your chance to win a luxury holiday.
For your chance to win an all-expenses-paid holiday to Hollywood for the premiere of Star Wars The Force Awakens, a stay at the 5-star Four Seasons Hotel and spending money of $5,000. All you have to do is answer the following question. What is the end of this sentence? May the Force be A. Ever in your favour, B. With you, or C. Always by your side. Text A, B or C to 55533. Terms and conditions apply. The winner will be announced at the end of the show.
I would love that holiday, seeing the glitz and glamour of Hollywood. And it's been 10 years since the last Star Wars film. It makes me feel ancient. Our next guest is Paul McMaster, and as well as being a theatre producer at the Riverside Theatre in Coleraine, he's also a lecturer for performing arts and supports his students through everything. Hi Paul.
Hiya.
First of all, can you tell us a bit about yourself and your love of acting?
I suppose my love of acting started as any performing artist would whenever they're young, and then so I thought, okay, let's go with it, do something that I enjoyed. Went and trained as a mime artist in physical theatre, and then continued my education and got a theatre degree. After that, I suppose I was a jobbing actor, worked in the industry, travelled with touring companies across the UK, Ireland, and then thought, okay, decided as well at that point I was going to have a family, settle down, get married, and thought, okay, regular income, what do I do? How can I put my love of the arts to something useful? Decided to get into teaching and to be able to share my experiences to bring up and coming artists into the industry.
Yeah. You've worked on a lot of productions. What's been your personal favourite?
Yeah, I mean, over the past sort of 20 years, I've been working on quite a number of productions, both performing and get the opportunity now to direct. I suppose for me, it's the joy of being able to bring up-and-coming artists into the industry, and probably one of them would be college production, would be The Sound of Music.
And you have another production coming up called Into the Woods.
Yes, we do. Within the NRC here, we have some great talent coming up into the ranks and about to step into the industry, and one of them that we're doing now is Into the Woods, which has been a big hit at the cinema. We've decided we're going to put it to the stage, which it originally was designed for. It's a task, but we're using the different departments here, the music and the production arts, and we're going to put it forth in May at the Riverside Theatre.
Well, look forward to that. What's it like having such great NRC talent to work with?
Well, I started coordination about 2 years ago, and since then we've seen a lot of up and coming talent, and I'm looking forward to the next 4 years whenever they've either gone on to university, drama school, just to see if they're working in the industry and the names coming forth. But one of them, I think, is coming up next on the show here.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much, Paul, for your time. Let's go over to Caitlin with one of Paul's students, Miss Melody May.
Thank you, Emily. I'm with the magnificent Melody May, who's about to finish up our show with her rendition of Riptide. Over to you, Melody.
I was scared of dentists and the dark. I was scared of pretty boys and starting conversations, and all my friends are turning green. You're the magician's assistant in their dreams. Oh, oh, and they come unstuck, lady, running down to the riptide, taking away to the dark side. I wanna be your left-hand man. I love you when you're singing your song, and I got a lump in my throat 'cause you're gonna sing the words wrong. Oh, there's this movie that I think you'd like. This guy decides to quit his job and go to New York City. There's cowboys running from himself, and she's been living on the highest shelf. Oh, and they come unstuck. And they come unstuck, lady, running down to the riptide, taking away to the dark side. I wanna be your left-hand man. I love you when you're singing your song, and I got a lump in my throat 'cause you're gonna sing the words wrong. Oh, and they come unstuck. And they come unstuck, lady, running down to the riptide, taking away to the dark side. I wanna be your left-hand man.
Thanks, Melody. That was so good. Before we go, we have one more thing to do, and that's to announce our lucky winner.
And the winner of this week's competition is James Smith.
And that's all we have time for in Stage Light. Catch us next week for more exclusives when we have James Nesbitt, star of The Hobbit, and Claire Danes from Homeland.
Looking forward to seeing you all next week. Bye.